we were going to be talking about the recent shootings at the ATM. People withdrawing money and the little girl getting shot.
Yeah, in Houston, it's almost like you don't even want to go to the bank because there's so much going on right now. And so I guess we can kind of start with my little story from the other day.
Yeah.
So it's crazy because a friend of mine and I were talking about safety, going to the bank and everything. And then I went to the bank. Like, I never go to the bank. I'm such a non-banker banker,
Right.
And so went to the bank, and I drove up and I was turning to a spot. There was like a guy, he was returning, and I was parking like next to his vehicle, and he was coming out of the bank going to his car, right? Well, then on the other side, there's like this lady, like kind of in front of where I was pulling. She had pulled in like on an angle, which is already like, what is she doing, right?
Right.
And so then she's summoning the guy to her. So she's Latina, he's Latino, and so she's calling him over. But he looked kind of like what are you calling me for, but he goes over anyway. And then she asked him something, and then he shakes his head no, and he goes back to his truck. And so I'm like, okay, I wonder if she's trying to get money out of him, right? So then she stayed, like she was still in my way a little bit, and so she kind of looked at me as if like she was thinking about, let's see, maybe I could ask her or whatever. Anyway, so I just looked at her real crazy, get out. So then in turn, she finally backed out, and then I pulled all the way in, turned my car off. I went into the bank, and then she just was a suspicious character. And so then I just told the bank manager, because I feel like this. I feel like if it's the daytime, you have people trying to get money out of people at the bank, and as the manager, you're responsible. And so you need to know. And if you don't know what's happening in your parking lot, then your people can be attacked or anything. And so I just told him, because I'm here too. And she could have somebody else watching her to see if they get the money and then go behind them after the fact. This is what's been happening, right?
Yeah.
So I did whatever transaction I had to do, got back in my car. Well, before I got back in my car, I could see her, like she's at the end of the aisle, like the row in front of, like when I come out the bank, and I could just see her straight ahead, and she's just sitting there and in a car. And I'm just like, this lady is weird. Like, what is going on? So then I observe her to watch her to like go around, and then she pulls out to go to the gas station right next door at the HEB. And so I again am still watching her, because I'm like, okay, is somebody following her? What's the whole nine? And so then I ended up going around beyond where she was, and then going out a different exit. So just observing that she was still at HEB when I left, because people are doing weird stuff these days, and it has nothing to do with paranoia. It has to do with the news and what people are doing crazy stuff. So what's been happening here in Houston?
Well, there was a recent incident of a little girl that got shot.
Okay, so recently there was a 9-year-old who was shot.
Yeah.
So basically, let's start at the beginning. So based upon my understanding in the news reports here locally, there was a gentleman who was being robbed by this one guy. And so he attempted to I guess get his things back or something, trying to shoot at the guy as he fled the scene. When he shot, he missed the guy, and there was a family that was passing by in an SUV, and I guess the family had heard shots, and they told everybody to get down. And the 9-year-old had her headset on, watching a movie or what have you, and she did not hear the get down. And so because she did not hear the get down, she ended up getting shot on accident.
She got killed.
And shot and killed. And that's basically what happened. So, and this was around a bank area. But also there was other things recently that happened.
There was an ATM robbery with the old lady was being dragged, and she was being dragged. I guess they robbed her at gunpoint, and she was taken off. The person took off, and she was being dragged.
You know what? Yeah. So I'm just kind of exactly. And so I'm just concerned that people cannot go to the ATM.
Yeah.
And you cannot go to the ATM where there's bushes. You cannot go in the evening. You cannot go by yourself. Yeah,
it's that thing. You have to be alert. But going back to the 9-year-old, it's just so tragic, because they had nothing to do with the robbery, and that happens.
Right.
That's just
right. I agree that it's very tragic in that I think for everyone just to recognize it was an accident,
Yeah.
and that the gentleman who was trying to protect himself and his things certainly did not intend to kill a child.
Yeah.
He just meant to stop the person who had robbed him.
That same ATM, a lady got killed there for $40 at also gunpoint, and she didn't want to give up her money, and the guy killed him. He's still at large, and it's Chase Bank. I don't have the specific location, but Chase Bank, yes.
Well, I don't know if we want to put out there the bank. I mean, I think that people are just trying to get it how you live, no matter where it is.
Any bank, any ATM machines is what I'm saying. But that was a location that they, So do you think they should have more cameras?
Is that on the east side of town? Where part of town is it?
Yeah, southeast side.
The southeast side. Okay, but of course, crime can happen anywhere, and so it's really important, I think, to just be mindful. And we had a couple of points that I wanted to share with you guys. One of the main things is to go
in the daytime. Go in the daytime. People, it's 8, 9, 10 p.m. Wait for tomorrow. It's not worth it. Especially if you're by yourself.
Exactly. Because people are. They had the one incident where they jacked a guy who was at the ATM, and then his family's looking for him, a missing persons deal, and they found out that his car was in a impound in Dallas, and he was in the trunk. So I mean, how are you at the ATM and then in your own trunk? I mean, this is like people come, they overpower you, you have no idea. And then it's probably best maybe if you want to do some
electronic transactions, Zelle, Cash App. But if you need cash, there's always alternatives. Venmo, PayPal. Nowadays you really don't need cash. You could just have the app. That's why I know older people, especially senior citizens, don't like to do
some of the apps.
Yes.
Right.
And I have family members that are like that. I don't want that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to mess with it. It's too hard. All you gotta do is put your bank account information. And if you owe someone money, or you're doing a transaction, let's say you're pitching in on a party or something, some barbecue, and you need cash. Send them Venmo. Send them PayPal. All these apps that we can use versus taking out cash.
Right. And so, or just do it in the daytime. I mean, so just like my experience, I mean, I'm observing this thing. I mean, I felt like that was really important to pay attention to my surroundings. I think, doing that transaction in the daytime, those electronic transactions, and then also being aware of your surroundings. Certainly, we've had several, and this is kind of a little aside, we've had several instances where people have been observing people from the time they got out their vehicle to when they returned to their vehicle, stealing their $5,000 purses and all kinds of stuff like that. So I think that they did end up getting that ring and incarcerating them, and they're prosecuting and working with that situation.
Yeah, because someone worked an inside job.
So, okay, tell me about that.
There was a lady that got robbed for $2,000-$3,000, and when she got out, they knew she had that money, and they robbed her. So I think, I don't know if the person was looking at that lady, but how do you know that she's taking out $2,000-$3,000?
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. So, like when I went to the bank, and I did happen to make a withdrawal that day, and so the lady did her best to secure the transaction. So the cash counter, she put back to the counter on the side, so I can just observe that it was counting the certain number of bills, and that is. I mean, that's as much security as you get, but I mean, if people are right there behind you, they can see, they see the bills counting, they see you getting something, and I mean, do they text somebody that's sitting outside, hey, red shirt, whatever, how's that communication go, especially when you have multiple people working on the situation? So I would say the daytime
drive-through?
Yeah, electronic,
drive-through one?
Yes, electronic transactions, being aware of your surroundings. Yeah. And I mean, I think this is probably one of the most important things.
Suspicious activity, report it. You could call 911. You could
talk to the branch manager.
Talk to the branch manager, and take license plate down.
Yeah, and so it's not like you're a snitch, but I mean, hey, it could be you in a situation. It could be your family member. I mean, and unnecessarily killed or something behind $40. So I mean, that I think that it's important to do daytime, do the electronic transactions, be aware of your surroundings, to report what you're seeing, any suspicious activity to the branch manager or police.
So I was gonna ask you this. So let me put yourself in that situation. You're robbed at gunpoint. Do you A, leave, A, give them the money, B, try to fight it, C, just give everything up?
I think that everybody's fight or flight response is different, and I think that maybe the height and weight of the person, their, just the whole scene predicts that, and so if someone is naturally afraid of things, I mean, they may have one response. If someone else feels like they can overpower the other person, they may have a different response. If someone is nearly unbothered by it, I mean, they may have a different response. So, I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you and tell you I would not know what I would do until a situation presented itself. So I pray that that's not my situation. That, I mean, I've given my whole life to helping people, from being an educator to being military to being a therapist. And so my entire life I used to be a summer camp, day camp director. I mean, everything I've done has always been to give back and help people. And so I would pray that everyone that I come across is on my side and means me well, because I certainly mean them well, and I hope that they have a good life, and that just know that it's possible.
It's possible.
So,
With me, I would just give up the money. It's not worth it. My life's more important than the money. I had an argument with a friend about it, and he said that he would fight. Because he says he works hard for his money, and I see that, but everyone thinks different. I'd be like, here you go. Here's the money.
Sometimes you give them the money and they still shoot you. I mean, it's not a guarantee of safety.
It's not a good, because they're also nervous. It could be their first time robbing someone. And I think that's what usually happens.
Could be a gang initiation. You don't know what's going on. You don't know why they're doing what they're doing.
They get nervous, or they panic, or they think they see a cop or something, and they freak out. And sometimes that's how accidents happen. The gun goes off, and
it was unintentional. It was just to scare you.
Yeah, scare you.
But it ends up killing you. So I mean, like I said, I don't think that any person really knows what they're going to do until they are faced with that type of traumatic situation. And something else that's important, I believe, too, this kind of little to the side, there have been more people where I live, or just in a general area and within a couple of miles, kind of hanging out at the red lights and stuff with all their signs and all that. And I was going to say, keep your doors locked and put your purse in an inconspicuous place. I mean, it's just for safety purposes. I mean, if you choose to give somebody a bottle of water or $5 or something, I mean, that's certainly on you. That's fine. I mean, but just keep yourself safe. So
stay alert. Stay alert. Because also at gas stations, people don't leave your wallet on the door. Don't leave your purse, your cell phone. Because what happens is while you're pumping gas, they creep around and open up the door and then just take your whatever's in the passenger seat, and they're gone.
Yeah, I think I had a student I used to teach at the college level, which I think I'm still in their roster. I just haven't taught there in a while. But anyway, so I had a student come to class late, and I'm like, what's going on? And she had gone to a gas station. She had her computer on her passenger seat, she did not take care to lock the passenger side doors, because of course most newer cars, I mean, all the doors are unlocked. So you have to take care to relock the ones that you don't want unlocked as you get out on your side, on the driver's side, to pump the gas.
Right.
So usually I would move my purse away and put it in an inconspicuous spot. I will lock the other doors, and then I will pump gas, and I'll be turned toward my vehicle.
Right.
So looking at my vehicle as opposed to having my back turned from my vehicle, because you need to be aware. This is your vehicle, your stuff, and you just need to be aware. So to turn your back away from your vehicle, to leave all the doors unlocked, I mean, you're looking for trouble. So her computer was stolen, and she was on her way to class, and that sweet darling, I mean, she made it to class, and my heart just went out to her. And college wasn't paying enough money. I mean, I would have just bought her a computer. I just felt so bad. I was like, oh my God, poor baby. But I was glad that she was safe.
She was safe.
She was unharmed, certainly. Yeah.
Well, we're gonna wrap this up. What's the saying that you're saying? Subscribe, like, share. What was the little saying that you said?
Oh Lord, that was 2 weeks ago. You gotta catch me, but yeah, I will say, guys, we are trying to build here, so I want to just ask you kindly to please subscribe, watch, like, and share.
That's it.
I think that's really important. And so, if you like anything that we're saying, or you agree with anything that we're saying, we appreciate you, your viewership, and your time and effort put in here. Many blessings.
All right, peace out.